Macron insists on sending European soldiers to Ukraine. What do you think about that?
In Milan, they'd say, take the Trump. Go yourself if you want, put on your helmet, your vest, grab a rifle and head to Ukraine. No, I think that Trump, with his ways that can sometimes seem abrupt or unorthodox, is succeeding where everyone else has failed, namely getting Putin and Zelensky back to the negotiating table, something that hasn't happened in years. Then it will be entirely up to them to choose precisely where to meet in the middle, but certainly European armies, European rearmament, common European debt to buy missiles, or various Macron-style ideas are not at all. Let's not disturb those who are working for peace.
Italy's Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini has triggered a new diplomatic clash after mocking French President Emmanuel Macron's Ukraine plan. When asked about Macron's idea to send European soldiers to Ukraine after a settlement, Salvini bluntly told him to get lost. He went further, saying Macron should personally put on a helmet, take a rifle, and head to Ukraine if he wants troops there. In response, France summoned the Italian ambassador to Paris, thereby escalating tensions that have been simmering between the two nations. Salvini, the populist leader of the right-wing League Party, and also Italy's transport minister in the nationalist, conservative government led by Giorgia Meloni, has repeatedly criticized Macron, especially over Ukraine.
Macron insists on sending European soldiers to Ukraine. What do you think about that?
In Milan, they'd say, take the Trump. Go yourself if you want, put on your helmet, your vest, grab a rifle and head to Ukraine. No, I think that Trump, with his ways that can sometimes seem abrupt or unorthodox, is succeeding where everyone else has failed, namely getting Putin and Zelensky back to the negotiating table, something that hasn't happened in years. Then it will be entirely up to them to choose precisely where to meet in the middle, but certainly European armies, European rearmament, common European debt to buy missiles, or various Macron-style ideas are not at all. Let's not disturb those who are working for peace. Warmongers and bomb throwers should keep quiet. At least in August, they should keep quiet. Our children will not go to fight in Ukraine, that's for sure.
Meanwhile, Macron continues pressing allies like Britain's Keir Starmer to mobilize European support for Ukraine's future. He argues that Europe must be ready to assist Ukraine in case of a ceasefire or a negotiated settlement with Russia. Salvini strongly rejected that vision, saying there will never be a European army led by Macron, whom he called mad.
We need to win peace. Consequently, we need to make sure that Ukraine is in the best possible position in those negotiations, and we need to make sure that the peace that will be negotiated will be robust and lasting for all Europeans. This is the reason why today's meeting took place as a follow-up to the initiative launched in Paris on the 17th of February. Also in line with the discussion that was undertaken in London a few weeks later. Today, this meeting took place with 31st countries, with the Secretary General of NATO, as well as EU institutions. The 31 countries make up a coalition of action for a robust and lasting peace. Based on our willingness, our commitment, and everyone's determination, we have first started by expressing a common view. First, our willingness to remain united and to do everything that we can to build this peace by force, to repeat Trump's words. We also enacted the fact that Ukraine, a couple of days ago in Jeddah, had the courage to say yes to a 30-day unconditional ceasefire. Ever since this decision was announced, no Russian response was given. New preconditions were set up for partial ceasefires, for hypothetical ceasefires, and yet every day new strikes took place. And increasing strikes took place. So in this context, we would like to commend the US's effort for peace, to exchange with the United States of America, to prolong our determination and our plan. But we are also determined to make sure that we overlook no discourse from Russia, as was evidenced by Riyadh's discussions on the issue of the Black Sea, when Russia, through its discourses, speeches, has completely remade and reinvented what has happened over the past couple of years. Now, we are all in agreement. It's quite difficult to argue that negotiations for peace will take place, since three communiques have been drafted, one which was from the US and Ukraine, and one from the US and Moscow, and another one from Russia, and all of them diverge. This fosters a lot of lack of certainty. Therefore, we have come up with one message. Number one, we are going to continue to support the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian army. This is something that is indispensable to make sure that we can prepare for peace. It is a necessity to make sure that we can counter Russia's plan, aka pretend to negotiate, to pull the rug from under their enemies' feet, which is exactly what's happening. Based on this, our Ukrainian partners identified a number of priorities in artillery, in munitions, or ground air defense. They have been announced by some colleagues. They have also asked for the mobilization of a number of resources. Sweden, Norway, Germany, and others were part of the announcement of additional efforts, on top of the 2 billion euros of bilateral support that was announced yesterday in conjunction with President Zelensky and as part of our additional support to Ukraine and its army. Support in the form of drone satellites and co-production in Ukraine have been identified, as well as a number of training programs for the Ukrainian army. This has been discussed, and we have reached unanimity. We have also decided to accelerate the disbursement of funds under the auspices of the ERA program in the form of loans, as well as a number of artillery. The EU, of which President I would like to thank, has made this announcement. When it comes to additional support to Ukraine, we have also unanimously supported and enacted the fact that the time for lifting sanctions had not come. No sanctions should be lifted unless peace has been established for good. We will continue exerting pressure from an economic viewpoint on the shadow fleets, and we will continue mobilization.